Hello everyone, Xanaro Gaming coming at y'all with another video, and in today's video I want to go over the newest set that is coming out for unionarena, which is going to be Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 2. Now this I think is a combination of some sets they got out in Japan where they're kind of taking like JJK2 and JJK3 and giving us one set here. So if you see the numbers at the bottom and they confuse you, don't let that confuse you too much. Some of these will say, JJK2 or JJK3 on it. It is all coming in our set. It is going to be a little bit different than how they got it over there in Japan, right? I feel like this is zoomed out enough for you guys here. So let's get into maybe just some of the key cards and archetypes that are coming out in the set. Let's do color specific first. Maybe if I can get it to do that. Take away everything other than red. So red is the newest color for JJK, and it is going to have some of the most support in it and number of cards that are getting introduced into the set, right? There is, I think, 2 new archetypes that are going to be based around. One is going to be based around like the cursed wombs and mainly going around Choso. That will be one of the bad guy ones. And then also another kind of deck profile I'll make for you guys is going over like cursed spirits with Mahito, which is going to be a little bit different than how the other Mahito is played. This deck is going to it's going to be a little hard to build. I don't know how good this Curse Spirit deck will be, to be completely honest, because it's not something that we've seen yet, and it plays a lot different than the purple Mahito, which did get some support, right? So I would imagine that you would want to, if you really like these cards, maybe just play with the current deck that you have in purple, because this red version kind of revolves around this ghetto that lets you activate main once per turn, place up to 2 red Curse Spirit Affinity cards without raid, and with different card names from your sideline into removal. This character gains all activate main abilities on the cards placed into the removal area by this ability until the end of the turn. So essentially you'll have your little guys in the sideline. You get to remove them from play with his effect, and then he will gain now 2 of those effects, which sounds really, really strong. And I do think that this deck can do some decent things, but this Ghetto not being a raid is kind of an issue, so it doesn't come in active, which you could find ways to get that effect through their abilities, though. But it is going to be very combo-oriented, which is the same reason why the Curse Spirit purple deck is a little bit harder to play, because you have to really know the deck through and through, and then you can really get some big plays on it. You have this one here. Once per turn, this character gains red energy duration till the end of the turn, so you could get that one if you really wanted to. You really want to get these other ones once per turn. If you only have 5 or more energy, place 1 card from your hand to sideline, switch it to active. So you really want to have the Dagon in the sideline, and the Dagon is what lets you stand the Ghetto back up. But it's just like a combo-oriented deck. Like I said, I'm not going to go into every card, but I do want to touch up on some of the key cards in the set. One of the other big Curse Spirits being this Gojo, which is going to be one of the main ones that you want, because you get to activate his main, and he can give you 2 different effects. If on the front line once per turn, you're going to activate this ability if you have 5 or more energy generation. Choose one of the following. You could give this character damage 2, or when attacking, you may place 2 cards from your hand to your sideline. If you do, choose up to 1 character with 2,000 less PP on your opponent's frontline and sideline it. So a very versatile effect, but I think they messed this deck up by just not giving enough of these trigger, right? So it's going to be a really inconsistent deck that you need to be able to combo off of, and it does have some really cool things for you to be able to do, which is really sad because I love Choso. He's so cool in the game, or in the show. This is a new character that we have not had introduced yet into the card game. He says, when play, draw a card, play up to 1 Iso or Chisuzu card from your hand, set to resting onto your field. So he brings out his brothers. You raid the Choso, bring out a brother, and draw a card. And then activate main if on the front line once per turn is Iso and Kichizu are on the same line. All Isu and Kichizu characters on your field gain 500 BP till the end of your turn. Which can, be really, really cool, bringing out his brothers, and they have decent stats. This deck seems to be something really cool that you can maybe, feels like how the Kyoto High purple deck in the first set feels, where you bring him out, you kind of swarm out his brothers here, which can do different things depending on if you have them each out on the line, which is really, not bad. You have three different or two other Chosos in the deck, but then you have to work on putting in other cards from this Cursed Spirit archetype, which don't really go too well into his deck, which is a little interesting, right? So he probably just needs a little bit more support. But if you really, really wanted to, you could maybe run some other red cards into it. It just doesn't seem like a very fleshed out package. I think they want you to put him into the Cursed Spirit deck, but they're Cursed Womb, so I don't really know how well it's going to play out together. But you do get a new Mahito in red that is a Cursed Spirit, which is a new color trigger, but it goes into the red deck. It just activate main. If on the front line once per turn, you can only activate this ability with 5 or more energy generation. Choose one of the following, which he just lets you, get impact. You may silent one character and field other Mahito if you do draw 2 cards. So, it's all based around getting these cool effects for Geto to be able to copy. But without Geto being at raid, I feel like it makes the deck a little slow and not as consistent as it probably could have been otherwise. Now, we do have a fully fleshed out other red deck, which is going to be a Jujutsu Sorcerer deck. Now, this deck is going to be combo oriented as well. I do think that red is one of the lacking colors from the set, even though it did get a lot of support. But let's go through the raid cards, right? We have a UG. This is a raid UG. When attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or more other Jujutsu Sorcerer, if any cards on your field, choose one of the following. You can either give him impact or reduce his BP by 2,000, but you get to switch it to active. So being able to get 2 swings in, right? Which is not bad. It's when attacking, so your opponent either, like, you get to do this, you decide, hey, do I want to make my opponent take this 1 damage through the impact, or do I want to be able to, get this guy active and get another swing in, which in most cases, I feel like getting the 2 swings in is pretty good, but if you really need to guarantee that attack going through, you have the impact. So it is a very versatile, cool card. I actually really, really like this Yuji. And Nobara has her new raid in red, which is really cool. She's a Jujutsu Sorcerer. When played, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand to your sideline. If you place a Jujutsu Sorcerer Affinity card into your sideline with this ability, choose up to 1 character in your opponent's front line with the same required energy or base BP as that card. It loses 3,000 BP until the end of the turn, which is pretty cool. Like a kind of a way to, this is almost like a kill spell, right? Like if you have the perfect card in your hand to match their base BP, if it happens to be 3,000, they just have to be 3,000. You get to kill that card, which is awesome. Activate main, place 1 card from your hand to your sideline once per turn. Choose 1 Jujutsu Affinity card. Sorcerer Affinity card in your field. It gains 500 BP until the end of the turn. This can be relevant, being able to let your UGs be able to swing in for a little bit more than they would have been otherwise. But they all kind of revolve around each other. You have a new Gojo in this that is just your play it as active, 4 energy, 2 action point, 5,000 BP, 1 energy generation, and he has damage too, but at the end of your opponent's attack phase, place this character into your removal area. So always some downsides with the new Gojo cards. You'll see that when we go over some other ones. There was someone else I wanted to touch on from this archetype, because there are plenty of characters that we are getting that we haven't gotten before. And we finally got my girl Mei Mei in here. She's just a flat damage 2. She is a sorcerer. During your turn, this character gains 1,000 BP. So she's a 5,000 BP damage 2. Your opponent will have to enter, answer, which is, it's just so cool. We have another Gojo here too, who has Impact 1, and if there are 2 or more characters with 4,000 more BP or a Geto on your opponent's front line, place this character to your removal area and look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Reveal 2 Jujutsu Sorcerer Affinity cards other than Gojo and add them to your hand. Place them in the bottom of your deck. So he gets to come out just to be a 5k blocker for you. Essentially, if they do not are not able to put him back into your hand or back through the deck with this effect, into the removal, then you can have a 5k impact, which is going to be pretty powerful. I do think that this deck can do some really cool things. It's going to take a really good person building the deck to, figure out a way to make this deck work. But I do have high hopes for the JJK Sorcerer Red deck. All right, let's touch on blue, because blue is, oh man, I'm really surprised that they gave blue as much support as they did because it is already such a powerful deck. Now, I know that doesn't look like a lot of cards, but every single one of these cards is impactful because they do help out the blue decks. You got new Kento Nanami support, so if you really wanted to build the blue JJK deck just around Nanami, now you can, and you don't have to worry about the fingers, but spoilers, you're going to want to do that kind of hybrid build because that's just the best way to play Nanami. We got a new raid Nanami here, which is when played, choose it one character in opponent's front line. It gains this character cannot attack until the start of your next turn, which is really, really good. You just keep it from attacking, which is so good. A nice stun effect helping you to be able to get your other Nanamis to that, only 15 cards left in deck status. And then also, when attacking, place one card from the top of your deck into your sideline. Then if you have 15 or less cards in your deck, draw one card and reduce the BP of all characters of 1,500 or more BP on your opponent's front line by 1,000 until the end of the turn. So it is it's a better card earlier, and then it also has a late game payoff. So Nanami decks are going to be eating good because they also have a color trigger Nanami, which is probably the one you're going to want to run over the other one. It says when played, place up to one card from the top of your deck to your sideline. Helps fuel that. And then he says during opponent's turn, he gains 1,000 BP. So this is a 2 energy, 1 action point, 4,000 BP nullify impact during your opponent's turn. This card is nutty. So good to help out Nanami. I can't wait to build a fully fleshed out Nanami deck because I did not like having to run that other engine in the deck because people are like, oh, you're just playing blue JJK. Now I can be like, no, mine is just a full Kento Nanami deck because he is one of my favorite characters from the show for sure. But he got support, and there are, other support. We have the Maki Zenin support if you want to just run the option kind of card, like the Forbidden Toolbox kind of deck. She got more support, which is really, really cool. We have a really cool kill spell for Sukuna. Be proud you were strong. 8 energy, 2 action point. If Sukuna is on your front line, reduce this card's required energy by 2 in your hand, so you get to play it for 6. Choose one character with 4,000 or more base BP on your opponent's front line. Sideline it and draw 2 cards. So good. No trigger, which is great, but I can see a lot of people taking this as a 2-up because now you can build your Sukuna decks into a build 'em up, like 7 energy build 'em up blue deck, which I do like that they, are giving people with blue JJK different ways to play the deck. You could play the Nanami builds, you could play just straight Yuji builds, or you could play Sukuna, the normal best probably version of the deck, or you can build this new Sukuna version, which is going to be a ramp-ish kind of Sukuna because it costs you 7 energy, 1 action point. It has impact as long as it's rated. That's not a generic impact because it is not over the top part of the raid. But it says when played, choose one of the abilities listed below. If you have 3 Sukuna finger cards in your sideline, choose 2 instead. If you have 4 or more Sukuna finger cards in your sideline, choose all. You can't get more than 4, right? Because you only run 4 copies, unless they plan on making another Sukuna's finger card that we don't know about, and maybe that's why they're just putting it in there like that. But you can either draw a card, your opponent places 1 card from a hand to the sideline, so you draw 1, they trash 1. All characters 2,500 more BP on your opponent's front line lose 2,000 BP till the end of the turn, which is actually kind of nutty because they all lose it, meaning now they can't block through. And if you have your shrine up, you're going to be getting that impact 2, snipe, all kinds of crazy things. And then also choose up to 1 character with 3,500 less BP on your opponent's front line and sideline it. So regardless, you get to choose one of the abilities listed below. So you pick one of these. It's either a kill spell, a draw 1, trash 1, or reduce their whole line by 2,000. I think the more generic one that'll probably come up the most often is going to be this flat lose 2,000 across the board for their characters with 2,500 or more. But like I said, if you have 3, you get to choose 2, which is probably going to where you'll be at as well. It's just a very versatile, cool card. It's 5,000 BP. It always has impact. This is how I'm going to build my version of Sukuna going forward because it feels like a green deck with a little more consistency, and this is going to be so much fun to take advantage of. But I do not think that this card will see the most competitive play because the 7 energy is kind of rough, right? It's kind of the opposite of what the blue deck wants to do, which is keep pace in the game. We do got another color trigger UG here, and this one is so much better than the other one. I know that the other 2 action point color UG does let you blow up a body on the board, but this one is so much better because it only costs you 3. It's only 1 action point. The other one felt kind of clunky to have to run sometimes, and it just says if you have a Sukuna's finger in your sideline, this character gains extra energy generation. So it's a double energy generator, 3,500 BP, color trigger, such a versatile card. It's going to go in every blue JJK deck. It is just super, super good. Those are the main cards to, kind of to touch on. I'm not going to go through every single card in the set, but I do want to touch on, I got to touch on this Sukuna because the art is sick. Like, this Sukuna art is so sick. 3,500 plus BP, generates you energy, 4 energy, 2 action point. You get to play it onto your field active, and it is a double blocker. So I think this Sukuna mainly goes along with the 7 energy Sukuna because this guy wants to keep you in the game longer. With the double blocker, during your turn, he is a 4K. During your opponent's turn, he's only 35, but when it's choose up to 1 character with 1,500 or more BP on your opponent's field. It loses 1,000 BP till the end of your turn. Add 1 character for each Sukuna's finger in your sideline. So this is kind of like going with the theme of the more fingers you have, keep your opponent from doing anything until you get to that big Sukuna. I can't wait to play the straight up full build Sukuna to go into this really, really strong one here. All right, let's touch on the I kind of want to touch on purple. But let's touch on the yellow first. So Gojo did get support. It is based around having Gojo and Getsu and I always forget her name, but the girl. So now Gojo will have a fully fleshed out deck. I still do think that you're going to want to run other packages from the other different decks, maybe a couple of Nobaros here and there and stuff like that. But if you want to go fully into a Gojo deck, you can now. This Gojo is really, really strong during your turn. If on the front line, if Geto is on the same line, this character gains damage too. When sideline, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal a Gojo, a Shoko, or a Geto, and card among them, add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom deck in any order. If you added a card to your hand, you have to sideline a card. It is an active trigger. It is not a get trigger, which is a little unfortunate. But it is a 4K Gojo, which will let us be able to activate all these really cool Gojo event cards, which we do have a new one, and it is going to be Curse Technique Lapse Blue. Now, this is a really cool card. It is a draw trigger. It costs you 4. You can only use 1 of this card once per turn. Choose up to 1 character with 1 or less energy generation on your opponent's energy line and move it to their front line. So if their front line is full, guess what? Now they got to remove 1 of their front line characters. That's where the rest of this comes into play. It says, then if none of your opponent's characters were placed into their removal area due to this, you get to draw a card. So even if you just need to draw a card, you get to disrupt what your opponent's doing, even if they didn't have to put anything into removal. But this could be one of the best clear spells in the game because they may have all 4Ks. You play this card, they have to switch it with a 1. Now they remove something, and it is essentially a kill spell. And if not, you still mess with their energy line. You could play it early enough in the game to still draw a card, which is really, really good. With that being said, we have another 5-drop, 4,000 plus BP Gojo, and this one's really strong. It is a draw trigger. During your turn, if on the front line, if you have Geto or on the same line, or a Rico in your field or your sideline, he gains 1,000 BP in impact. So this is a 5,000 BP impact Gojo, which is so good. And then when play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. He lets you grab one of the option cards, either the Lapse Blue, Reversal Red, or Hollow Purple, add them to your hand, and if you did add something, you need to sideline something. So this adds a lot of consistency to Gojo. Running this Gojo, running the other Gojo, running all your events, now you can really do some stuff. Now, it does mean that you're going to have to run the Geto package into it as well, but I don't know how much you want to, run the 5-drop Geto, even though it does have a really cool effect and stuff like that. I think you want maybe to make the deck the smaller drops, and then so that way you can still sneak in some other packages from the other decks that you may need help with, right? Because, we got a 0-drop Shoko, a 1-drop Shoko. Pretty good to help out the deck. One other, main buff deck that is from yellow is going to be our boy Megumi. I love to see Megumi players in the meta. I do think that he was already in a pretty decent spot, being this really cool aggro, rewarding, really well thought out players using the deck. And now they're going to be eating so good because you get a new Megumi here. 4,000 plus BP draw trigger 4 energy, 2 action points to play. But he says once per turn, when the activate main ability of a Chimera Shadow Guard on your field activates, all Megumi Fushiguro characters on your field gain 1,000 BP till the end of your turn. If this was the only card they got, this card would help out so much because now all of your Megumis get to go in and can swing and actually win a lot of the battles as opposed to getting blocked out by the 5k bodies, which is really, really good. And then it says when played, choose one character in your opponent's front line with BP equal or less than 1,000 multiplied by the combined total number of Shikigami Affinity and Shadow Guardian cards on your field and sideline it. So it says your whole field, you're going to be generating energy on the back line. When you play this card, you're going to be having 4 energy that already counts for 4, and then you could just further, clear something out. This card is going to be amazing in the deck, and I do foresee Megumi maybe not being like one of the, sorry, my eyes bother me, most played cards from this set, but you will see it and it will top. It is going to be a very, very strong deck. This Megumi alone helps it out. It did get other support with the another Shikigami card, which is the Rabbit Stampede. When this card is returned to your hand from your field, choose it to one Shikigami Affinity card from your field and switch it to active. This combines with the Max Elephant. You play that card down. You play the Max Elephant. It generates energy even if on the front line, and when played, return one other Shikigami card from your field to your hand. If you cannot, return this character to your hand. So you got to have the Rabbit down, play this card. When the Rabbit goes back, it lets you stand the elephant out, and it is a 4,000 BP body, which is crazy. 3 energy, 1 action point. Oh my god, Megumi's gonna be eating so good. Now, we did get the Rainbow Dragon, the Cursed Spirit. This is mainly for Ghetto, but it is a Cursed Spirit. I just wanted to touch up on it because this art is so cool. It really is. But that is the main cards for yellow. So let's keep going on. We are going to the last color, which is going to be purple, which did get a lot of support as well. Now, Mahito Ghetto decks, I have always believed in as well. I think that they are decks that really reward players who take their time with the deck, and I think this Mahito helps us stack out a lot. It just says, when played, you may sideline 2 characters on your field other than Mahito. You do have to sideline 2. You cannot sideline characters with the same card name with this ability, so it just has to be 2 different kind of characters. If you sideline 2 characters with this ability, draw 2 cards and choose up to 1 character in your opponent's front line, and it loses to 4,000 BP till the end of the turn. You're going to play this card. You're going to blow up 2 different things. You're going to draw 2 cards, and then you get to sideline one of your opponent's 4,000 BP rated characters, which is going to be really, really strong. But the value comes whenever you kill your stuff. You get to play other things back out and get value off of that. This card is going to help that deck out a ton, and it's definitely the main card that you're going to want to be adding to the decks. There is other Curse Spirit cards in here. I don't really want to touch on them because it is all up to you, the deck builder, how you want to play them. But the Mahito is definitely guaranteed going in all of those decks now because it's just so good. All right, we do have Fushiguro Toji, 4 energy, 1 action point, 5,000 BP, draw a card. Just a generic, high-end card for purple. He's not associated with anyone. And we do have another Toshi, which is an 8 energy, 2 action point, 4,000 plus BP, 1 energy generator. If the combined total of your life and your opponent's life is 4 or less, reduce this card energy by 2 while in your hand. So it's going to cost you 6 energy, 2 action points. You get to play him active. During your turn, he is a 5k, and then when played, he gains snipe and impact until the end of the turn, which is really, really strong. I can see a lot of purple decks taking in 1 or 2 of these just to having as a good way to clear off what your opponent's going to do. A 5k impact snipe is so powerful. We've seen it be so strong in all the green decks that have it. So nice to see purple getting some love. One of the cards I'm most excited about is going to be this Toto. I do think it's going to help out Toto a lot. It's not a raid Toto, so I'm a little upset about that. But it just says you get to, Boogie Woogie, just switch one of your characters that have Kyoto Jujutsu High from one line to the other, which can be, pretty useful. Doing all your plays, have him down here to generate energy. Use that Boogie Woogie to switch him back onto the front line with a character maybe you don't want up on the front line. It helps the deck be a little more versatile, what it could do. But the main support that the Kyoto Jujutsu High is getting is going to be, now you can run another raid target, which is going to be the Ultimate Mekamaru mode Absolute. It raids on top of Ultimate Mekamaru. We do have Kokichi. Yeah, Kokichi Muta. He obviously, is treated as the Ultimate Mekamaru, so you can raid on top of that and then also this one. I think if you run this package, though, you may not need to run this particular one, but I think I'm probably going to because I love Miwa and I love Toto, and I think that he just synergizes better with them. But we got another Miwa as well, just win, play, draw one, then trash one, and she's a double energy generator, which helps you get to this 6 energy for the ultimate Mechamaru. And if you really, really wanted to, you could top it off with the Tojis. But getting into what the ultimate Mechamaru does, it does raid on your ultimate Mechamaru if you have 5 or more other JJK high affinity cards or a Miwa on your field. So if you just have the Miwa, you get this. You don't have to have the 5 other. This card gains impact. And it doesn't say for the turn. It just says this card gains impact. So it doesn't always have impact. Any moment you have a Miwa on the field, you will have the impact. And it just says, when played, choose one of the following. Choose up to one character with 3,500 less BP on your opponent's front line and sideline it. Or choose up to one site in your opponent's field and sideline it. This is very, very relevant. With how popular Blue JJK is going to be, being able to get rid of their site is going to help you out a lot, which is really, really cool because I do think that Mechamaru got done dirty in the show. He was very prepared to, take out these people that were, the Mahito and stuff like that, so I feel bad for him. But this card is very, very powerful, being able to be a kill spell just what the deck needed. I do wish he was only 5 energy and not 6. I think that makes it a little bit tougher to get to, but it is a raid trigger in life. This does a lot to give the Kyoto JJK high deck some wheels to go on, and now you can build it a little bit better. I think you add in all of these cards, the Toto, into the deck, and then from then on, you kind of just decide which cards you want to play. But I think that is every color, right? We touched on red, blue, purple, yellow. We got through all of them. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What color and what deck are you most excited to build from this? I got to go with my boy Toto. I love Toto. He is, I just love him. He's my favorite character in the whole show. Him, Gojo, a couple other people, but he's definitely up there. And I know that this card doesn't do a ton for the deck, but I think this package overall will help me out a lot in being able to make him a little bit better. I think the star of the show is definitely still going to be the Raid Toto, and then probably Mechamaru now. I am going to try to find some ways to fit in Toji because he is also just so freaking cool. But like I said, sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you guys are excited to see. I'm going to give this set a couple weeks to come out, and then hopefully we can see these decks performing well in tournaments in the future. Don't forget to leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate everyone hanging out with me today. Peace.